There are no warnings, no signs, no whispers in the wind to alert you. The decision has already been made. Somewhere in the depths of existence, a force beyond human comprehension has chosen your fate. A devil has been sent. Not a mindless beast, not a reckless spirit, but a cold and calculated executioner. One who never fails, one who never questions, one who does not feel. You were not supposed to be different. To them, you were just another name on an unholy list, another soul to extinguish without hesitation. Their presence is an unseen shadow, their power a silent storm, and their arrival marks an end, not a beginning. But something is wrong. From the moment they lay eyes on you, hesitation creeps in. A hesitation they do not understand, a disturbance in the flawless cycle of destruction they have followed for an eternity. This has never happened before. They have silenced kings, torn apart empires, and erased those far greater than you. So why now? Why here? Why you? What was meant to be a swift execution is now an unraveling mystery. And as their dark purpose collides with something they were never meant to feel, one truth becomes undeniable. This is no longer a mission. This is something far more dangerous. Are you ready to face the truth? Drop a comment below with "Ready for whatever divine order," and let the universe know you're aligned with the power that's about to unfold. Before we dive in, I need a small favor. Lately, my videos have faced some challenges getting to those who truly resonate with these messages. If this content speaks to you and you feel it's worth sharing, please hit that like button, share it with others, and make sure to subscribe. The unexpected obstacle. Your presence shakes them. From the moment they draw near, something feels off, not to you, but to them. They have carried out countless assignments, leaving no trace of hesitation or doubt. Every mission before this one has been simple: locate, strike, and vanish into the shadows. Yet, as they approach you, an unexplainable disturbance takes root. Something they cannot quite define, but cannot ignore. You stand before them, steady as a mountain that does not yield to storms. You do not shrink away like prey, sensing its predator. You do not tremble, nor do you bare your teeth in resistance. They have seen fear in its many forms, eyes widening, breath quickening, souls crumbling under the weight of their presence. But in you, there is no such reaction. The silence between you is not that of helpless submission, nor of reckless defiance. It is something else entirely, something that unsettles them in a way they have never known. They were prepared for many possibilities. They knew how to shatter defenses, how to manipulate the weak, how to overpower even the strongest of wills. They expected you to break like brittle glass, or fight back with futile desperation. But instead, they find themselves standing before a force they cannot define, something beyond their calculations. It is not just light that radiates from you, not just the ordinary glow of those who believe in something greater. It is something deeper, something that does not waver or flicker. It is like the steady burning of a star that has never known darkness, a presence that does not need to be loud to be undeniable. There is no arrogance in your stance, no attempt to challenge or prove anything. That is what unsettles them the most. They have encountered the righteous before, those who scream defiantly, those who wield their beliefs like weapons, those who beg for mercy in one breath and curse in the next. But you do none of these things. You are simply there, unwavering, unshaken. It is as if the very air around you bends to your presence, as if even the unseen forces that guide their path hesitate in your wake. They try to dismiss it. They tell themselves It is nothing more than an illusion, a trick of the mind. But the unease lingers. It is not fear, not yet. It is something more dangerous, uncertainty. And uncertainty is something they have never had to face. Their existence is built on absolute knowledge, on certainty in their purpose, in the inevitability of their success. Yet now, in your presence, that certainty fractures like a thin layer of ice beneath unseen pressure. They move closer, expecting to feel the rush of power that comes with dominance, expecting the familiar certainty of being in control. Instead, they feel something else entirely, something foreign, something that does not yield to their touch. It is as if the space around you refuses to be tainted by their intent. Their very essence, forged in darkness, does not seem to reach you the way it should. They can strike down warriors, break the wills of the strongest, and yet with you, they feel as if they are grasping at smoke, as if the force they wield has met something that does not acknowledge it as a threat. There is no resistance from you, and yet there is no surrender. It is like standing before the ocean, vast, deep, and unconcerned by the storms that pass over its surface. There is nothing they can take from you, because you do not operate within the rules they have mastered. You do not meet them on the battlefield they know. You are something else entirely, something they cannot define. And that is the first crack in the foundation of their purpose. They were sent to end you, to erase you, as if you were nothing more than a name on a list. And yet, here they stand, confronted with a reality that does not align with what they have always known. They do not question their orders, not yet. But something lingers in the air between you, something they cannot push aside. It is not defiance, not submission, not anything they have been trained to expect. It is something that shakes them in a way they do not understand, something that makes them hesitate, even if only for a moment. And in their world, hesitation is dangerous, because hesitation is the first whisper of doubt, and doubt is the beginning of something they have never been allowed to feel. The cracks begin. Their power fails against you. They have faced resistance before, but it always followed the same patterns. Some fought with desperation, clawing at the inevitable, trying to defy fate with trembling hands. Others crumbled, surrendering before the battle had even begun, their spirits folding under the weight of fear. And then there were those who begged, offering up whatever they could in a last attempt to save themselves. These were the responses they knew, the reactions they were trained to expect. But your response is different. You do not resist in the way they have seen before, nor do you surrender. You do not cry out, do not fall to your knees, do not offer desperate words in exchange for mercy. There is no fear in your eyes, no panic in your breath. It is not that you are unaware of the danger before you. It is not that you underestimate them. And yet, you do not react the way you should. This does not sit well with them. It is an unfamiliar feeling, like trying to strike a shadow only for it to remain untouched. They do not understand why their presence does not shake you, why their power does not weigh upon you as it does upon others. They tell themselves it is only a matter of time. No one is immune to fear, they think. No one can stand before them without breaking, eventually. So, they shift their approach. Intimidation has always been effective. A whisper in the dark, a promise of inevitable suffering. These things have broken even the strongest before. They have watched entire empires crumble under the mere suggestion of their power. The weight of certainty, of knowing that nothing can stand against them, has always been enough to bend even the proudest souls. But against you, it fails. Their words fall like stones, into a bottomless well, vanishing without an echo. There is no reaction, no trace of doubt or distress in your expression. They might as well be speaking into the wind. This should anger them, and at first, it does. Frustration creeps in, sharp and unexpected. They are not used to feeling this way. Their presence alone has always been enough. Their power has never needed reinforcement. Yet here they are, face to face with someone who does not tremble, someone who does not fall apart at the mere suggestion of their strength. It is unnatural. It is infuriating. And yet beneath the frustration, something else stirs, something dangerous, something they do not want to acknowledge. Fascination. It is subtle at first, like a flicker of light in the depths of a cave. A thought, unbidden, pressing at the edges of their mind. Why are you different? What makes you so unshakable? They should not care. They should not wonder. And yet, they do. Deception is their next tool. If intimidation does not work, then perhaps misdirection will. They have broken many not by force, but by unraveling their sense of truth. They weave lies as easily as a spider spins its web. Subtle and intricate, meant to trap the mind rather than the body. They offer illusions, shifting reality just enough to plant the seed of doubt. They whisper words designed to erode certainty, to twist belief into something fragile and uncertain. But you do not waver. Their words slide off of you like water over stone. You see through the illusion as if it was smoke, something insubstantial, something that has no power over what is real. You do not waste energy arguing. You do not fall into the trap of defending yourself against something that does not deserve acknowledgement. You simply do not engage. And that, more than anything, unnerves them. They have spent their existence shaping reality for others, bending perceptions, twisting emotions, pulling strings unseen. They know how to make people question themselves, how to lead them into their own destruction with nothing more than a few carefully placed whispers. But with you, there is nothing to twist, nothing to exploit. You are rooted in something beyond their reach, something that does not bend to suggestion. This is where the first real cracks begin to form, not in you, but in them. They tell themselves that this is a challenge, nothing more, that they have simply never encountered someone like you before, that given enough time, even you will fall, just as all the others have. But somewhere, deep within, a different thought lingers, a question they cannot silence. What if you are not like the others? The idea is absurd. It goes against everything they know, but it is there, refusing to be dismissed. It is an itch beneath their skin, a whisper in the back of their mind. They have never had to wonder before. Their power has always been absolute. Their success has always been guaranteed. But now, standing before you, faced with the reality that their weapons, fear, deception, control, have no effect, they are forced to acknowledge something they never have before. They are not in control of this situation, and control is everything to them. It is the foundation of their purpose, the core of their existence. Without it, what are they? This thought should be fleeting. They should be able to push it aside, to return to their purpose without distraction. But they cannot. The cracks have formed, and no matter how much they try to ignore them, they are there, and cracks, once formed, only grow. The fall, love was never in their plan. They were created for destruction, not just to carry it out, but to embody it, to be destruction itself. Their existence has been defined by cold precision, by the absence of hesitation, by the certainty that they do not waver. they were never meant to feel. Emotions were for the weak, for those bound by the limits of mortal fragility. And yet, here they stand, paralyzed, disoriented, unraveling in a way they cannot comprehend. This was supposed to be simple, a mission like any other. A target, a task, an end. No hesitation, no second thoughts. But instead of carrying out their purpose, they hesitate. Not once, not twice, but over and over again, in ways that make no sense, in ways that leave them staring at you longer than they should, in ways that make their once clear mind feel clouded and uncertain. They tell themselves it is strategy, that they are simply trying to understand why their usual methods have failed, that they are calculating, waiting for the right moment. But even that lie wears thin. There is no right moment, because every time they stand before you, something within them resists, something silent, something deep, something they never even knew was there. It is you. Your presence is unlike anything they have ever encountered. It is not just light, it is something more, something unshakable, something that does not bend or break, but also does not seek to fight. It does not challenge them. It does not submit to them. It simply is. And that, more than anything, is what begins to undo them. They have spent their existence bending the will of others, forcing their power upon those too weak to resist. But you are not weak. You do not break, and you do not beg. And yet, you also do not fight them. You do not meet their darkness with defiance, nor do you run from it in fear. You simply remain steady and unyielding, as if their presence changes nothing at all. And that is the problem, because for the first time, they are the one being changed. It starts as a whisper in the back of their mind, something they ignore at first, something they refuse to acknowledge. A moment of hesitation, a flicker of awareness, a question, unspoken but persistent. Why? Why do they keep stopping? Why does their focus slip when they look at you? Why does the air feel different when you are near? Why does the mission feel wrong? They shake the thought away. This is what they were made for. There is no question, no hesitation. They are an instrument of destruction, and you are the target. That is all. That is everything. But the thought does not disappear. It lingers, like a stubborn ember, refusing to be extinguished. And slowly, without permission, it grows. It is in the way they watch you, not with the cold calculation they once had, but with something else, something unfamiliar, something dangerous. It is in the way they linger near you, even when they should be gone. It is in the way their mind begins to wander in directions it never has before, in the way they find themselves thinking about you even when they are not near. They do not understand it at first. They are not meant to feel. They do not even know the name of what is happening to them. But it is there, twisting inside them, making them question things they never thought to question. Longing. It is a word they have never associated with themselves before. It is foreign, impossible, absurd, and yet it fits. They long for something they cannot name, a warmth they have never known, a peace they never believed existed. They do not know what to do with this feeling, this hunger that is not for destruction, but for something else entirely. It terrifies them. They have never feared anything before, but this, they do not know how to fight it, because it is not something external. It is inside them, sinking deep, reshaping them from the inside out. The mission was supposed to define them. Instead, you are the thing that is defining them now, and they do not know how to stop it. They begin to see themselves differently, and in doing so, the world itself begins to look different. They have spent an eternity moving through existence with a singular purpose, seeing only what they needed to see, feeling nothing beyond what was required. But now, they notice things they never have before. The way the air feels different when they are near you. The way your voice lingers in their mind, long after you have spoken. The way your presence settles something inside them they did not even know was restless. They are unraveling, and they know it. Every moment spent near you weakens the foundations of what they have always known. Every glance, every hesitation, every unspoken thought, each one is a crack in the armor they once believed was impenetrable. And the more they fight it, the stronger it becomes. Obsession takes root. It is not gentle, it is not kind. It does not arrive with soft whispers or quiet acceptance. It is violent, consuming, overwhelming. It is an insatiable hunger to understand, to know, to be near you. It is a storm inside them, raging against everything they thought they were. They do not recognize themselves anymore. The certainty that once defined them is gone, replaced by a question that refuses to be answered. Who are they now? What have they become? But the real question, the one they do not dare speak aloud, the one that burns in the depths of their being. What if they were never supposed to be what they were told? It is a thought too dangerous to entertain. And yet, it has already taken root. The war within. They fight their own darkness. They stand at a precipice, a place they have never known. Their world, once a place of clear black and white, of order and dominance, begins to blur into grey. What they once believed to be a simple truth is now complicated by something they cannot grasp. Their mission was clear. They were sent to end you, to extinguish you, to erase everything you represented. It was their purpose, their reason for being. They were an instrument of destruction, and destruction was their comfort, their certainty. But now, standing on the edge of this new, unfamiliar landscape, they feel something inside them twist, pulling them in a direction they cannot understand. The mission is no longer the singular truth it once was. It was supposed to be straightforward. Execute the task. Move on. But now, with every moment spent near you, that mission becomes less and less clear. The black and white of it begins to fade, replaced by shades of confusion. You, the target they were meant to destroy, have become something more. You have become a question, a force they cannot comprehend, a presence that shakes the foundation of everything they have ever known. Every action they take now is weighed with doubt. The clarity they once relied upon is slipping away, like sand through their fingers. The very orders that once defined them now seem distant, irrelevant, even wrong. What was once unquestionable is now something they hesitate to follow. The certainty with which they once moved, the iron grip with which they held onto their purpose, is loosening. It is as if the very force of their being is coming undone, unraveling piece by piece. What's worse is that they begin to feel it, their own dissonance, their own internal conflict. The things they feel for you are not part of their design. They were never meant to feel at all, let alone the emotions that are now stirring inside them. A warmth, a softness, a pull that tugs them toward you in ways that defy everything they were created for. It is like an unknown gravity that draws them in, too strong to resist, too consuming to ignore. They feel it at first in fleeting moments, small cracks in the armor they once wore so confidently. It is in the way they linger too long in your presence, in the way their thoughts drift back to you, even when they are far away. It is in the way they look at you, not with the cold detachment of a killer, but with something warmer, something human. They feel the conflict inside them like an electric charge, sparking and crackling in the deep recesses of their mind. This is not who they were meant to be. They were sent to end you, to destroy, to conquer. That was their purpose. But as the days pass, that purpose begins to lose its grip on them. The mission, once so simple, so clear, now seems distant, even hollow, and with it, their sense of self begins to fray. They were never meant to feel this confusion, this uncertainty, this human warmth, but they do. They feel it more with each passing moment. It is terrifying. They do not know how to handle it, how to fight it. For the first time in their existence, they are faced with something they cannot control. They cannot will away these feelings, cannot force them into submission. They are there, like a fire burning beneath their skin, growing hotter, more intense, until it is all they can focus on. They cannot fight it, and that terrifies them more than anything. They try, of course. They attempt to bury the emotions deep, to suppress them with everything they have. They tell themselves that they are strong enough, that they can ignore what is happening to them. But with each attempt, the fire only grows. It spreads through them, threatening to consume them whole. They are no longer sure who they are. They cannot even remember what it felt like to be the cold, ruthless entity they once were. And you, standing there, unknowingly becoming the center of their war, are the catalyst. You are the one thing they cannot control. They cannot manipulate you with the ease they once used to dominate others. They cannot frighten you into submission, cannot force you into fear or obedience. You stand before them unwavering, and that is the ultimate test. You are not a target to be destroyed. You are the force that is undoing them, and they are powerless to stop it. This war within them is like a storm, a tempest, raging in their mind and soul. They feel torn between what they were created to be and what they are becoming. They were made to be destruction incarnate, but now they are questioning their own existence. They were meant to be a tool, a weapon, but now they find themselves caught in something far deeper, something they never asked for, something they never wanted. They are no longer sure where their mission ends and where they begin. The lines between who they were and who they are becoming are blurring, and in that blurring, in that dissolution of self, lies their greatest fear. Because if they no longer know what they are supposed to be, then who are they? The war is not just in their mind anymore. It has spread to their very being, to their core. Every moment spent near you intensifies the conflict. The warmth you exude, the stillness you embody are like magnets drawing them closer, but also forcing them to question everything. You are the anchor that holds them in place, even as they fight to break free. You represent everything they were never supposed to acknowledge, never supposed to feel. And yet, here you are, impossible to ignore, impossible to resist. Each day they remain in your presence is another battle they must fight. It is a battle they were never meant to fight, one they were not equipped to handle. They were made to conquer, not to be conquered. And yet with every moment they spend near you, they feel their own power slipping away. They are caught in a trap of their own making, a trap that is tightening with each passing second. Their own darkness, the force that once defined them, is no longer enough to shield them from what they are feeling. It is like a dark cloud that once covered them, now dissipating, leaving them exposed to something far more terrifying, the light within them that you have awakened. This light, this part of them they never knew existed, is something they cannot control, and it is tearing them apart. A dangerous crossroad, Will they betray their purpose? They stand at the edge, gazing into the unknown, caught between two paths. Each one pulls them in a different direction, each one a promise and a threat. For the first time, they are forced to choose, to make a decision that will shape everything that comes after. One path leads them deeper into the darkness, where the mission is clear, where the power of destruction is absolute. It is familiar, like the cold embrace of a shadow that has always been there, waiting to consume. The other path is shrouded in uncertainty, leading them into a place they have never been. It promises something more, a chance for something beyond destruction, beyond power, beyond the orders they have always followed. But it is dangerous, this new path. It offers no guarantees, no certainty, no comfort. The choice is not simple. It is not a matter of right and wrong, or even a matter of logic. It is a deep, internal conflict, a battle that has been quietly brewing within them since they first encountered you. They were sent with a singular purpose, an assignment that was clear and unyielding. There was no room for doubt, no space for questioning. They were made for this, and they had always known their place. But now, that certainty is slipping away. The mission, once a beacon of clarity, now feels like a prison, a cage that traps them in a reality they no longer recognize. Your presence has done this. You have awakened something inside them, something they were never supposed to feel, never supposed to want. It is as though you have peeled back the layers of their existence, exposing a raw, vulnerable part of them that has always been hidden. The love they feel for you is not just a feeling, it is a force, a pull that draws them toward you with a gravity they cannot resist. It is as if they have found something they never knew was missing, something that completes them in a way that destruction and power never could. The power they once wielded so effortlessly now feels hollow, empty in comparison to the warmth they find in you. But they cannot ignore the mission. They cannot ignore the path that has been laid out for them, the orders that have shaped their entire existence. It is a force that runs deep within them, like an unshakable foundation. They were created for this purpose, to carry out this task with precision and ruthlessness. The thought of betraying that purpose, of turning their back on the very thing that defines them, is terrifying. It is as though they are being asked to abandon a part of themselves, to sever a connection that has always been there. But in the face of the love they feel for you, that connection seems less like a foundation and more like a shackle, holding them in a reality they no longer want to be a part of. The forces that sent them will not forgive disobedience. They know this, deep in their core. The consequences of defying their orders are not abstract. They are real. They are deadly. There is no mercy for those who fail in their mission, no second chances. If they betray the purpose they were created for, they risk everything, everything they have known, everything they have believed. The punishment for failure is not just death. It is obliteration. It is the end of their very existence, a fate worse than anything they can imagine. And yet, the love they feel for you makes the thought of that punishment bearable. It is as though the very act of loving you has given them the strength to face the impossible, to stand in defiance of the very forces that created them. They feel torn, pulled in two directions, like a rope stretched too tight, on the verge of snapping. The mission, the love, the power, they are all colliding within them, each one vying for control, each one demanding their attention. There is no clear answer. There is no right choice, no easy solution. They cannot simply turn away from you, from the love that has transformed them in ways they never thought possible. But they also cannot ignore the mission, the orders that have been drilled into them since the moment they were created. They were made to be a weapon, a force of destruction, and abandoning that purpose would mean sacrificing everything they have ever known. The very core of their being is at war with itself. And yet, in this moment, they are forced to confront a terrifying truth. They cannot continue down the path they have always followed. It is not just about the mission anymore. It is about something deeper, something more profound. They cannot ignore the change that has taken place within them, the shift in their very nature. The love they feel for you is not just an emotion. It is a force that has rewritten the very fabric of who they are. It has made them question everything they once believed, everything they once fought for. But that doesn't make the choice any easier. The forces that sent them are relentless, unforgiving. They will not tolerate disobedience, will not allow anyone, no matter how powerful, to defy their will. The consequences of betrayal are dire, and they know that the moment they choose you over the mission, they are sealing their fate. It is a risk that weighs heavily on them, a choice that feels like walking a tightrope over an abyss. They cannot take that step lightly. As they stand at this crossroads, they realize that the path they choose will define them, will shape their future in ways they cannot predict. There is no going back, no second chances. The love they feel for you is a force as powerful as the mission that was laid before them, and it is not something they can simply ignore. But they also know that choosing this path means facing the consequences, facing the wrath of those who sent them, facing the possibility of losing everything. The choice is not just about you or the mission. It is about their very soul, their very identity. It is about what kind of being they want to become. Do they remain the cold, unfeeling entity they were created to be, following orders without question? Or do they embrace the love that has awakened within them, risking everything for a chance at something beyond destruction, beyond power, beyond the code orders that have governed their existence? It is a choice that no one, not even they, can fully comprehend. It is a choice that will change everything, forever. The final truth: you were never meant to fall. The air between them crackles with the tension of choices made and choices still to come. In this final moment, you stand before them unchanged, unshaken, unbent by the forces that have twisted and pulled at everything around you. There is a quiet strength in your presence, as though you are the calm in the eye of a storm, a force that doesn't need to fight because it already knows its own power. What is happening now, what they are grappling with, was never about survival, not in the way they had once believed. This wasn't a fight for the right to exist. It was a battle for the very essence of who they are, who they were created to be, and who they could become. You are not simply a target in their mission, not just another soul meant to be eradicated. You are something far more profound, far more dangerous. The power they were sent to destroy has become the power that might unravel everything they knew, everything they had ever been trained to follow. You are the spark that ignites something deep within them, a fire that cannot be doused by fear or force. The truth of what you represent begins to settle in their bones, as cold and undeniable as the coming of dawn. It is a truth they never expected, a truth that changes the very foundation of what they believed in. They were created to destroy, to extinguish, to follow orders without question. But you were always meant to be more than that. From the moment they laid eyes on you, everything shifted. It was as though you were the mirror to their own darkness, showing them not just who they were, but who they could be. They were meant to bring destruction, but you were meant to bring something else. Something even the darkest force could not ignore. You were the catalyst, the key that unlocked a door they never knew existed, a door that led them to a truth that terrified them more than anything they had ever faced. You are the force that has cracked open their carefully constructed world. You are not just a person, not just an individual. You are an embodiment of change, a living, breathing symbol of everything they cannot control, everything they cannot understand. It is as if you have become the very thing they were never supposed to encounter, the one thing that renders all their power meaningless. You have shown them the limits of their strength, the boundaries of their purpose, and in doing so, you have rendered everything they thought they knew about themselves irrelevant. The darkness that once defined them now feels like a shadow, a ghost of something that no longer fits in a world where you exist. They tried to destroy you, to bend you to their will, but in the end, it is they who are being transformed. It is a quiet revolution, an internal shift that they cannot control. They were sent to break you, to bend you, but it is they who are breaking. They who are being bent by something far greater than their own power. You are the mirror to their soul, the reflection they have been running from, and they cannot escape the pull of your light, no matter how hard they try. It is a light that shines not to blind, but to reveal, to expose the parts of themselves they have buried, the parts of themselves they never knew existed. The truth of what you represent is like a seed planted deep in their heart. It is small at first, a quiet whisper in the back of their mind, but over time it grows, takes root, and begins to spread. The darkness that once consumed them now feels small, insignificant, as though it is a distant memory of someone they used to be. They are torn between two forces now, the mission they were created for, and the awakening they cannot ignore. It is as if you have opened their eyes to something they never wanted to see, something that forces them to reconsider everything they have ever known. Your presence is a catalyst, not just for change, but for transformation. You have become the trigger that sets off a chain reaction they cannot stop, no matter how much they try to cling to their old ways. The orders they once followed without question now seem distant, irrelevant, as though they are no longer the ones giving the commands, but the ones following them. You have turned their world upside down, and the very foundation of their existence begins to crumble beneath them. It is not a destruction that comes with fire and blood, but a quiet disintegration, like sand slipping through fingers until there is nothing left but the truth. You were never meant to be a victim in their eyes. You were never meant to be something to conquer or destroy. You were meant to be the catalyst of something much greater, something that would challenge everything they thought they knew. Your very existence is a challenge to the darkness, a challenge to the rules they were created to follow. They were sent to break you, but it is you who has broken them. You have shattered the illusion of control they once held, and in its place, you have given them something far more dangerous: awareness. Now, whether they stand by your side or vanish into the shadows, it doesn't matter. You remain unchanged. You stand as the truth they can no longer deny, the force that neither bends nor breaks under the weight of their power. Your role in this story was never to be the one who is destroyed. You were always the one who would awaken something inside them, something they could not control, and it is that awakening that will forever alter the course of their existence. You are not just the chosen one, you are the catalyst of something far bigger than the war they were sent to fight. You are the force that turns everything they know upside down. And once the transformation begins, it cannot be undone. Your presence is the final truth, a truth that they cannot escape. You were never meant to fall, because you were never meant to be just another target. You were meant to awaken the dormant powers within, to challenge the darkness that had held sway for so long. In the end, it is not the battle that defines you, but the awakening you bring. You are the force that changes everything, and that is a truth that will echo through their very soul.